Next, we're going to look at how you would research effectively, retrieve information, and do it in a responsible manner. From the time that you enter the library, with or without your class, to research for a task, you would want to develop some research questions. You need a starting point for your research, whether your teachers ask you to do this or not. Just getting on a computer blindly is going to lead you down a road that's going to give you more information than you probably need and not as specific. So my suggestion is to create at least 5 inquiry research questions. The questions should generate full responses, answers that are more than just yes or no or just a couple words long. For example, earlier this fall when I was working with history teachers, students were researching Cold War topics. And within Cold War, one of the students was researching people prosecuted during the Cold War. And this led them to this research question. What were Ethel and Julius Rosenberg accused of, and what was the evidence against them? Now, based on the research or the project that you're doing, you may want to rework your questions or your topic based on where the research takes you, but you do need a starting point. Now, I've already given you information on how to access a database, but how do you search a database? There's a couple ways you can do it, more than a few. You can, when you're looking for answers here, use just the default or basic search. It looks like a Google search box and you can type the information in. You also have an advanced search option, which is more specific. The researcher sets the parameters of the search so you can get more specific results. You also have the option of an author search. So let's say you find a helpful article on the topic you're researching and you want to search out to see if that author has more articles. You can do that. Now remember, databases should be your go-to for information and you should put it to work for you. For example, I showed you earlier how to access a database. So let's go with the topic of Ethel and Julius Rosenberg. Now, once you go to the school website and you access the databases, one of the databases available to you is the Gale database. The password, if you don't remember, was remote, because you can remotely access from anywhere. So once we type in the password, we are now in the database. Now I could type Ethel Rosenberg, and this would be the basic search. This is what we referred to as the one that looks like Google, or just a default search. And you would click the search. This yields me one specific, okay, and 30 that might have something to do with Julius and Ethel Rosenberg. But if you look to the right of this basic search, you also have an advanced search option. This is where you can set the parameters for your search, all right? You can search by keyword, document title, even an ISBN number on the back of the book, publisher. Now, you also have some options on the left. You can search Ethel and Julius Rosenberg. You can search Ethel or Julius Rosenberg, or you can search Ethel but not Julius. Now, if I want to do a keyword here, and I switch these both to keyword searches, I want a search that's going to reveal all the results for either Ethel Rosenberg and or Julius Rosenberg. Now I've just narrowed my search with an advanced search. I can add rows, I can search and make it very specific. Let's try that. All right, now I have in my advanced search, I have more specific information and I've got results, 7 different results that are very specific to Ethel and or Julius Rosenberg. And again, this is all within the database. I've got pictures, I can listen to it. We talked about this when we talked about accessing databases. And again, don't forget that you can cite it. you can cite your source. All right, so that is basically how you would search in a database. We know that databases are better than Googling, and let me show you why. You had very specific information that was academic related when we were in the database. If I type Ethel and Julius Rosenberg just into Google, if you look over here on the left, I got more than 384,000 hits on Ethel and Julius Rosenberg. I don't know about you, but I don't have time to go through 384,000 results to find what is quality information when I can search a database first, knowing that anything that comes up is quality information. And if you notice, the first thing that came up is Wikipedia. Wikipedia is an open source. That means anyone can change the information on Wikipedia. So its reliability is questionable. If you're going to use Wikipedia as a starting point for your research, that's fine to get a basic overview, but you shouldn't be citing Wikipedia as a source. And if you look towards the bottom, where did they get their information? Wikipedia. You can look at some links there and some citations. And that's more useful as far as Wikipedia goes than trying to cite it. Don't cite Wikipedia as a source. It's not that credible. All right. Now, the databases that you can access through our high school, you can also access the West databases and the East databases. And did you know, with your library card to the Fresno County Library System, there's the web address, fresnolibrary.org. If you type in your code on the back of your library card, they have over 30 databases that you can access information for free with your library card. Databases are credible without sorting large quantities of information like you would find on Google, and they create the citations for you. Remember to cite all your sources so you can avoid plagiarism. This would require you, and you know if you've had an English or a history class on our campus, to create a bibliography or works cited page per your instructor's directions. You need to give credit where credit is due. Now, if you are in any English classes on East Campus, the basic guidelines for that is a works cited page in MLA. You would open up a document in Google Docs, and you should do this while you're doing your research. Put your name, date, class period in the upper right-hand corner, and then center the title Works Cited. Then you would cut and paste those citations of all the sources of all the information that you went to onto that document, and before you turn it in, you move them into alphabetical order. If there's not a citation built for you, or you don't trust the citation that's there, you can go to Citation Help on the library homepage, and you can build citations there. The first line of each of your citation on your works cited page would be on the left margin. All the rest of the citations of that citation are indented. Okay? You can't just cut and paste URLs, people. That's not a citation, and your English teachers are not going to give you credit for that. If you access our library webpage, which we've done several times throughout this presentation, and you look on the left-hand side, you have library citation tools. These are some of the citation tools that will help you build citations if their citation is not there or is lacking some information. And again, that's on the left-hand side. Citation tools. You need to give credit where it's due and to cite your sources to avoid plagiarism. So if you are going to go out on the web and search, that's fine too. After you've exhausted hopefully some of the holdings within the library and you've found what you need on the databases and you're searching for more information, it's okay to use Google. You just need to be careful about the parameters of your search and to look closely at the information that you are receiving. I also wanted to show you a couple little ways to make those searches more effective, even within Google. If you have not yet heard, Google has a secondary search engine called Google Scholar. So if you're on Google, you would just Google Google Scholar. Google Scholar takes you to now a secondary search engine, and it's labeled Google Scholar. So now all the information that you're going to retrieve in a search in Google Scholar will be scholarly articles. It's academic. It's an academic search engine within Google. So let's type in Ethel and Julius Rosenberg at this point. Now, Ethel and Julius Rosenberg are within Google Scholar. You're going to get a lot of these types where it says citation, and that's just a citation. That's what was used in another paper when somebody, like your works cited page, and it's not going to give you results. So you're going to, and some might be books, and some of them might actually be articles. So once you get into Google Scholar, you kind of got to search a little bit to find something that will be useful for you, but you can know, like a database, that it's going to be academic based. So Google Scholar is an option for you. Also, if you did not know, within Google, there's an advanced search option. Once you've typed in what it is you're searching for, and you're on a search page, you can go to settings on the far right, look for the little setting, and you can do an advanced search much like you would do in a database. You can search for all the words, an exact word. Advanced searches will really help you narrow down and get rid of some of the commercialism, some of the things trying to sell you, products, some of those 380,000 things that you don't need. And it will give you examples here. So you can do an advanced search in both databases and within Google. Hopefully that is helpful for you. You want to get the most information closest to the topic you're researching without all the trash that you don't need. Finally, now that you've researched effectively, you've retrieved information, and you're going to evaluate that information, you can then reference it like I have here in this presentation. Now we're going to take a look at a strategy called RADCAB. RADCAB, R-A-D-C-A-B. Once you've retrieved that information off the internet, you want to know if it's going to be useful for you. You're going to evaluate the information that you've received. And one of the best strategies to do that with is the RADCAB strategy. RADCAB stands for relevancy. Is this information relevant to the question that I have? Am I on the right track? Or is it something that I don't need? If it's not relevant, skip over it. Is it appropriate? In other words, is it appropriate age level? You might get hits with information that are too juvenile or too scholarly, at the graduate level, that you don't need. It might not be appropriate age level, but is it also suitable to your core values? Is the information appropriate that you can put into a presentation or a paper? How much detail is there? D stands for detail. How much information do I need, and is the depth of coverage adequate? Or should I skip this resource and move on to something else? C stands for currency, and we're not talking money. Currency, how new is the information? How current was it published? And is that relevant? For a topic like Ethel and Julius Rosenberg, that happened in the 1950s, so you don't need an article published in 2016 in order to have that be accurate. But if you are researching something like women's rights, if you looked at women's rights in the 1960s as opposed to women's rights in 2016, that information would be pertinent, and currency is important. The A in RADCAB stands for authority. Who's the author? Are they an expert on the topic? What qualifications do they have? Is there an author? Is there someone listed? Right? You need to check and make sure that the information is really accurate. And finally, the B in RADCAB stands for bias. Why was the information written? Is it informational? Is it propaganda? Is it trying to inform, persuade, entertain, sell you something? You need to be careful about, since the fact that anybody can post anything on the internet, you need to make sure that it's a credible source. All right, so the RADCAB strategy is one that you should review in your head every time that you open a web page that you're going to cite that information from, outside of a database or a scholarly article. Just something that you pulled from the internet. Is it relevant, appropriate? Is it detailed enough? Is it current? Does it have a good author that's an authority on the subject? And are we avoiding biases? Finally, you need to make sure that you're using the information that you've retrieved and that you're going to put into a presentation or a paper or even a project or even a posting online. Are you following copyright? And by that I mean, are you being a good digital citizen? So let's take a look at a little video here that will help us with that.
In today's digital world, it's easier than ever to copy, paste, mash up, remix, download, and publish content. People's writing, artwork, videos, and images can be inspiring, but they're also easy to take without thinking twice. When people treat the internet like a free-for-all, legal and ethical situations can arise. That's why it's important to know about copyright and fair use. It would help you give and receive credit where credit is due. So what's a copyright? Copyright law protects your control over the creative work you make. It requires people to get your permission before they copy, rework, or share what you make. Most things that you find, download, and copy and paste from the internet are copyrighted. That doesn't mean that everything online is on lockdown and can't be used. It can, as long as you check who owns it, get permission to use it, give credit to the creator, buy it if necessary, and use it responsibly, then you're not stealing. Now, there are times when you can use a small part of someone else's copyrighted work without permission or paying a fee. This is called fair use. Fair use only applies when using content in certain instances: schoolwork and education, news reporting, criticizing or commenting, and comedy or parody. Specific guidelines, what we call the 4 points of fair use, must also be followed. First, you can only use a small amount of the work. Second, you have to add new meaning to the work to make it original. Third, you need to rework it and use it in a totally different way. Finally, you have to use it for nonprofit purposes. In other words, you can't make money off of your new creation. No matter what, it's a good idea to give credit to the creator of the work you used. It's just a sign of respect. So what should you do if you find something online that you want to use? As a rule of thumb, check who owns it, get permission to use it, give credit to the creator, buy it if necessary, and use it responsibly, which means judging for fair use. You're a creator, innovator, and inspirer. Think twice about your rights and responsibilities in our online culture, and then pay it forward.
It's very important for you to understand that you are a creator. So if you create a poem and you put that poem on social media, and someone takes that poem and copies and pastes it and puts it on their social media and claims it to be their own work, that's stealing from you if you're the creator of that work. It works the same way if you take information that doesn't belong to you. Now the video went kind of quickly, so I just want to recap. Here's some fair use guidelines and what is covered by fair use. Now you are a student, so you are covered under fair use, but you need to check for fair use. So the exceptions for fair use are schoolwork and education. So as long as you're a student and you are doing a project, it allows you to use a small portion of someone else's work under certain guidelines. Also, news reporting. So if you are a member of the newspaper on campus, you can use, say, information and not go to the source. You can report on things. You can criticize or comment. For example, I write book reviews on my blog. I don't have to go ask the author permission to comment or criticize something that they have written because I'm covered under fair use. And the last one is comedy or parody. You don't have to go ask a politician to make fun of them. And if you've ever seen Saturday Night Live or The Simpsons, those are parodies. And they don't have to ask permission in order to do that. Now, you still have to work under guidelines of fair use. And the video pointed that out. You can only use a small amount of the work. You have to add new meaning to it to make it something original. For example, you can take a quote from somewhere off the internet and use that quote in your paper because you're only using a small amount of the work and you've created it into something else. But you need to give credit where credit is due. 3, you need to rework it in a totally different way. 4, you have to use it for nonprofit purposes. You can't make money off of it because that belongs to somebody else. And then you need to give credit to the creator or to cite your sources. In other words, you can't just download a whole paper on a topic and turn it into your English teacher and just cite it and say that you're covered under fair use for schoolwork and education. You're not. You didn't follow the guidelines for fair use. And if you're going to cite someone else's a direct quote, you need to cite that source. Even for paraphrasing, you need to cite the sources. So only use a small amount of the work, add new meaning and make it original, rework it in a totally different way, use it for nonprofit purposes, and always give credit to the creator. You would want that. So where can I find help if I need it? Well, you can always find help at the library webpage. Our library webpage has lots of different tutorials and help for you. If you need teacher or staff help, again, follow the left-hand side. You've got your citation help. You've got different books, career ebooks. You've got book clubs, chess club, athletes as readers and leaders to get involved in things. You've got research help here on the right. StoryCorps, art museums, National Geographic, Library of Congress, various TED Talks. And then you have some resources by subject, art, Spanish, English, PE, AVID, etc. If you need the help of a librarian, on the left-hand side, teacher or staff help, you have a direct link to my email in the East Campus Library, Mrs. Flores, or a direct email to Ms. Cheek at the West Campus Library. Or come to the circulation desk at either library. We've always got helpful people, as you saw earlier, to help to lend a hand, help you out. We are available Monday through Friday from 7:15 to 3:30. We have video tutorials, resource links to the databases, ebooks, and Overdrive, as I pointed out. We have book blogs, club information, citation examples and tools, class links and information, and we can even suggest titles for new books. If you've read something and you want something similar, we can help you out. I would like to leave you with a little fun parody, because in the library, it's all about the books.
Because you know I'm all about those books, start reading. I'm all about those books, start reading. I'm all about those books, start reading. I'm all about those books. Yeah, it's pretty clear that I am really cool because I'm reading. It's what I like to do because I got that fiction that everyone's chasing. All of these books take you so many places. I see those magazines, they make them reading hard. They're great when time is short and you can even swap. If you got books or Kindles, just raise them up because everything you read is perfect from the start until the stop. Yeah, Devon said she told me don't worry about the size. She says good readers like lots of books to read at night. You know.
Thank you for enjoying our presentation about the Central High School East Campus Library. Please come join us in the library. Have a great day.